In today's story, we dive into the life and capture of Iceman Stevenson, one of the UK's most wanted men and the mastermind behind a £100 million coke smuggling ring. Known as the Iceman, Stevenson orchestrated an elaborate plan to import nearly a ton of coke from Ecuador to Scotland, hidden in a shipment of bananas bound for a Glasgow fruit market. This operation, codenamed Operation Pepperoni, spanned international borders and led authorities on a massive chase across Europe. One of the United Kingdom's most sought-after criminals has now received a lengthy prison sentence of 20 years, following his involvement in a meticulously planned scheme to smuggle cocaine worth an estimated £100 million. Iceman Stevenson, known as the Iceman due to his ruthless nature and careful evasion tactics, orchestrated an elaborate network to transport nearly a ton of the illegal substance from South America to Scotland. Stevenson's arrest was the result of a targeted investigation by law enforcement, aptly named Operation Pepperoni, which involved significant international cooperation. The operation revealed a highly sophisticated method of concealment. Stevenson's team had arranged for the cocaine to be hidden within a shipment of bananas originating from Ecuador. Within this cargo were 952 blocks of cocaine, all carefully wrapped in 119 foiled packages to avoid detection. The shipment was cleverly addressed to a Glasgow-based fruit merchant, a tactic meant to deflect suspicion and allow the illegal goods to pass undetected through various checkpoints. However, this careful planning was thwarted when Border Force agents intercepted the shipment at the Dover port in September 2020, uncovering the contraband. Following his arrest, Stevenson pleaded guilty to charges of organizing the large-scale importation of cocaine, a move that has since resulted in his lengthy incarceration. Police described Stevenson as not only a dangerous individual but also as a mastermind in drug trafficking, whose influence spanned both national and international crime networks. Operation Pepperoni, an extensive investigation spearheaded by Police Scotland in collaboration with the National Crime Agency, NCA, proved to be a critical extension of another high-profile operation, Operation Venetic. The latter involved the infiltration of EncroChat, an encrypted communications platform widely utilized by organized crime groups, and resulted in the arrests of hundreds of suspects across the United Kingdom. Through this expansive approach, authorities were able to expose and dismantle various drug trafficking networks, one of which was linked to Iceman Stevenson and his elaborate cocaine smuggling operation. In the case against Stevenson, officials estimated that the seized cocaine held a street value of approximately £100 million. However, during court proceedings, a defense lawyer representing one of the defendants argued that the cocaine might have been sold for around £76 million, a slightly lower, though still significant, valuation of the haul. At 59 years old, Stevenson admitted to not only orchestrating the cocaine smuggling scheme but also participating in a broader scope of criminal activities, including the production and distribution of aine. This drug, often referred to as street Valium, has a reputation for its high potency and is commonly abused in certain regions. His involvement in the production and supply of aine further cemented Stevenson's role within organized crime circles, adding yet another layer of severity to his offenses. This isn't Stevenson's first encounter with the law. He was previously imprisoned in 2007 on money laundering charges. His operations at the time were so complex and organized that they drew comparisons to the infamous American television series The Sopranos, which chronicles the life of fictional mob boss Tony Soprano and his family's involvement in organized crime. Stevenson's 2007 conviction stemmed from the findings of Operation Folklore, an investigation led by the Scottish Crime and Drug Enforcement Agency. This thorough probe utilized an array of advanced techniques, including electronic surveillance, undercover agents, and detailed forensic accounting, all of which exposed the inner workings of Stevenson's money laundering network. Graham Pearson, the Director General of the agency at the time, emphasized to the BBC that Stevenson had maintained a prominent role within the world of organized crime for several decades. Pearson likened Stevenson's methods to those portrayed in The Sopranos, stating, He managed his criminal enterprise with a structure and ruthlessness comparable to how the fictional Soprano family conducted business on TV. This comparison highlighted Stevenson's calculated, businesslike approach to his unlawful activities, underscoring his level of influence and authority within the criminal underworld. In June 2020, law enforcement uncovered a suspected Atizolam pill manufacturing facility in Kent. This discovery linked back to Stevenson, who promptly fled the country upon realizing he was under intense scrutiny. Despite his escape, authorities continued to track his movements. Just 3 months later, in September, they intercepted a shipment of bananas containing hundreds of kilograms of cocaine. This significant seizure occurred while Stevenson remained at large, demonstrating the scale of his operation even in his absence. In 2022, as the investigation progressed, police officially listed Stevenson as one of the UK's most dangerous and sought-after fugitives. His status as one of the most wanted criminals was quickly publicized, and within mere weeks of the appeal, Stevenson was apprehended while jogging in the Netherlands. His capture marked the end of an international search, leading to his extradition back to Britain to face the full weight of the legal system. At the High Court in Glasgow, Stevenson appeared in August, where he ultimately pleaded guilty mid-trial to the charges against him. The presiding judge, Lord Ericht, acknowledged the elaborate and well-organized nature of Stevenson's operations, remarking, "You orchestrated a sophisticated system for the importation and distribution of cocaine." The court heard evidence revealing that Stevenson had registered a vulnerable individual as a director of the Glasgow Fruit Market Ltd. To obscure his criminal activities. This individual, unaware of the illicit operations, was unwittingly used for their name and signature to create a cover for the drug imports. Deputy Crown Agent Kenny Donnelly emphasized the unwavering commitment of law enforcement in pursuing criminals to the fullest extent, stating that no stone would remain unturned in bringing offenders to justice. Donnelly highlighted that evidence gathered from intercepted messages on the encrypted platform EncroChat provided a clear picture of Stevenson's role as the mastermind behind this drug trafficking network, directing the operation with precision. Donnelly underscored the devastating impact of the group's plans, emphasizing that the cocaine they intended to distribute would have certainly spread harm and suffering within our communities. He went on to commend the diligent and expert work by specialized prosecutors from the Crown Office who dedicated themselves to compiling evidence and building a strong case, which ultimately led to convictions for Stevenson and his 5 co-defendants. One of Stevenson's co-defendants, Paul Bowes, aged 53, also faced charges. Bowes admitted his role in organized crime, specifically his involvement in the production and distribution of the Class C drug Atizolam. His operation extended across various locations, including facilities in Abu Dhabi, London, and Rochester in Kent, revealing the far-reaching scope of the group's illegal activities. Paul Bowes, a key accomplice in the drug network, received a prison sentence of 6 years. Several other individuals involved in the operation also admitted to engaging in organized crime and serious drug offenses. Among them were 68-year-old fruit market trader David Bilsland, Gerard Carbon, aged 45, Ryan McPhee, 34, and Lloyd Cross, 32, facing significant charges, was sentenced to 7 years, while Bilsland and Cross were both given 6-year sentences, and McPhee was sentenced to 4 years. In a related case, 27-year-old Lewis Connor was sentenced to 3 years in prison in July after the investigation unveiled encrypted phone messages linking him to multiple acts of arson targeting properties and vehicles throughout central Scotland. His role as a violent enforcer further underscored the destructive reach of this criminal network. Jerry McLean, the regional head of investigations for the National Crime Agency, NCA, spoke to Sky News about the extensive criminal operation, noting Jamie Stevenson's influential status within the crime world. McLean explained that Stevenson, who orchestrated the actions of others within the group, was at the highest level of organized crime, maintaining connections spanning South America and across Europe. He further stressed that Stevenson and his associates operated with a blatant disregard for public safety, both in Scotland and across the UK. In response to the successful takedown of the group, the new leader of the Scottish Conservatives publicly commended Police Scotland and the NCA for their dedication in dismantling a vile gang that profited from the suffering and deaths within our communities. Member of Scottish Parliament Russell Findlay also spoke out, condemning Stevenson's actions and criticizing the impact of his criminal gains on society. Findlay emphasized, Jamie Stevenson exploited the vulnerable across Scotland, amassing a vast illicit fortune that he then injected into the legitimate economy, corrupting it further. He underscored the need for society to view organized criminals like Stevenson not as glamorous or intriguing but as disgusting, predatory parasites.